Hey all, here at OS Reviews. In the past, we've checked out a number of enthusiast-based DIY type products based on Arduino Uno, Raspberry Pi. I've enjoyed checking them out, and I always love taking a look at unique lights and lamps as well. Whether it's a mesmerizing infinity tunnel illusion lamp, hexagon lamps, as well as tree lamps, they all just bring a splash of color and ambiance into any room. So today's product kind of sits at the intersection of DIY and unique lighting. It's called the Glow Pop, and this will be a Kickstarter campaign that is based in Germany. It's pretty unique. It's going to be reactive to sound, so there is a small microphone that is built on in, and it will strobe and flash based on music that you're listening to. It creates this almost holographic 3D effect as it's being turned on, and as you can see in front of us, it is DIY in the sense that it's constructed out of this very eco-conscious kind of paper cardboard exterior that you can fold together. You can also see the circuitry as well as even the rechargeable battery that they're using as well. Instead of considering this as necessarily a reading lamp, it's more of an ambiance light for perhaps putting by the side of your bed, or if you're listening to music. Again, it will flash and strobe using all of these crazy RGBs, and then kind of diffuse using the windows here and creating this just interesting effect. As you can see there, a little bit more mysterious as you're looking at it. Many transitions, including calming, as well as just more vibrant, can also be played around with. So here's a faster strobing animation, for example, and you can see what some of the effects that it's capable of reproducing. It comes in a few different color configurations, which are basically just the exterior kind of cardboard-like box. Adding a little bit more of customization. Is about 1 millimeter thick in terms of that paper, so should be relatively durable as well. As for technical specs, there are 25 RGB lights inside. It charges up using micro USB, although a cable isn't included. It is fairly standard. Again, microphone to react, simple power on and off key, and even a dimmer to change the brightness level as well. The battery here is a pretty standard 18650 that we have seen in other power bank products as well that can be replaced if ever it needs to do so in the future. It's rated to run continuously for around 24 hours before needing to be recharged, and it can be assembled very quickly in under 3 minutes. So just a closer look here at that PCB board. We have those aforementioned 25 RGB LEDs, and then on top here just houses the micro USB port charging that will be revealed once we popped it still into the casing. Here is that removable rechargeable battery, and then we have just a simple power switch there on the side. This is kind of what it looks like if we don't have it popped into here with those kind of interesting diffusers, or they call magic windows, that creates more of that effect once we pop it inside. And then we have that dimmer switch here for making it brighter versus dimmer. As well as, last but not least, the microphone is located over there. The back of the PCB just says Glow Pop, and in terms of this kind of cardboard here, we have the white color, and there's also a quick tutorial on YouTube here that shows you how to very quickly assemble this thing again in just a couple of steps. So indeed, it is just super simple. Just align it with those cutouts that we see here, and everything just slides into place using the kind of cutouts on the cardboard here. In fact, tape really isn't even needed in this case since everything is already kind of pre-aligned. You can also see how the window is technically present on the faceplate here, which is a little bit deeper than originally expected. And also on the edge here is another window that you can peek inside. But everything stays shut surprisingly well once it's folded together like an origami paper box. Very neat. You can't really tell what's going on when everything is fully enclosed, kind of disguised from view, but all of the kind of dimmers as well as switches here can still be interacted with. Doesn't feel too loose, and also the charging port as well. The paper has a slight texture to it, and then says Wave Lights Glow Box there on the other side. So the only thing left to do here would just be turning it on. All of the animations, by the way, are preset or really pre-programmed, so there isn't any other, say, companion app. It doesn't really connect to Bluetooth or anything, or Wi-Fi, for instance. So everything that you see here is just basically plug and go using the microphones and the sound that it's able to hear. Of course, it looks the best once there is a little bit of a slightly dimmer environment, since these 25 LEDs are not going to be, again, as bright as a table lamp. But as you can tell there, it is a pretty magical effect, I have to say, for something that's so simple in terms of materials. It's almost giving me vibes of the aforementioned infinity tunnel mirror lamp that we saw there, with the help of these kind of reflective, quote-unquote, magic windows that you can see how it really diffuses the light in this crazy holographic way. And let's also play around with the dimmer here. So this is the brightest mode, which gets actually surprisingly a lot brighter than I expected, but we can also dim it all the way down there. A pretty smooth transition, I have to say. Very cool in that kind of analog way. And as far as the colors here, right now it's more of a purplish haze, and the microphone It's relatively responsive. If you're playing around with it, kind of moving it, it kind of pops. And now it's changing into more of a greenish as well as reddish pinkish hue, as you can see there. This is more of an RGB color that is even more vibrant. So even if you're not having any music being played back, it will continuously loop through different animations, slowly blinking and changing. It's always moving, it's never really static, and a pretty smooth overall effect, as you can tell there. So this is quite mesmerizing. It does really remind me of the kind of advertised almost party environment, almost like a stage light or a DJ light disco ball going on there. Very clever in how this is just done using those 25 LEDs. It's quite dazzling, mysterious, and mesmerizing to look at, I have to admit. It's kind of a desk accessory light, just putting it in front of your computer as you're getting some work done, or again, next to your bedside. As a night light, a glow lamp, or a mood lamp, I think it's working surprisingly well. Very mysterious, and again, enchanting in how you can see it differently from all the different angles. One thing I will say though is, again, perhaps in a more deluxe or pro version in the future, if they do have a PCB that can connect to Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, perhaps there can be a version that you can control on your smartphone where you might be able to even set certain animations or select specific ones that you are fans of, rather than going through the cycle or kind of this random loop that you see there. But nonetheless, still looking really beautiful, I have to say. So let's also play back a quick demo of some music next to it and see how it behaves. All right, so turning things down, I would say the microphone sensitivity is actually not bad. As long as it's near the table here, it actually picks it up and kind of strobes to the beat of the music as long as it's loud enough, and does a pretty reasonable job as a pretty cool visualizer. And then when it doesn't really detect music, it seems to go into a different transition mode, which is a bit smoother, as you can tell there, more of continuous colors being displayed. So quite neat in how it can detect that, and the software can loop through some of the basic transitions there. And again, very beautiful and mesmerizing tiny lamp. So that is more or less it. A very simple product at the end of the day, but definitely very cool as a desk gadget or accessory. That's been the Glow Pop interactive kind of DIY light.